It's me, Sony. Welcome back to another video. Today we are playing Super Mario 64. Yep. Today I'm showing off a little bit of a mod that I've made. You could call it a ROM hack, but at the same time it's also a texture replacer. It requires both for it to look how it does. Have a look at the intro as soon as it pops up because it gives you a little bit of a taste of what we've got coming up.
It's me, Mario.
And there it is, a beautiful new intro title screen model that I've done. So the way I did it is we've got a new model that I've imported. And the model itself has a single texture overlaying the lot. So what I could do is I baked the lighting into the texture itself, and then I thought, hey, screw it, I'll do it to an entire course. So I've done a little bit of texture replacing myself here as well. We've got a nice new menu look to everything. The red one has a nice color to it, and this purple one really looks nice. It's, the borders and everything. The scoreboard, if you have a look on there, you can see we've got new text as well. This is entirely just a texture replacer with a little bit of texture filtering on the main text here, the white bits. But let's have a look at the actual mod itself. And it'll take a moment because it needs to load some textures in. And click, click, click. There we go. This is a new model for the entirety of the castle grounds. So if I keep the camera in zoomed in mode here, you can have a look at how it looks. So if we've got new trees, shadows on the trees are all 3D modeled. We've got a massive new castle. Everything is well lit, very unusual for this game, of course, because the game doesn't have proper dynamic lighting like that. It isn't dynamic, of course. This is all pre-baked lighting. I've got some new water textures, pretty simple stuff anyway, but the underwater itself is also baked. And let's pop over here, we can see more of the castle itself. If we have a look in the pause menu, in fact I'm falling in the water there. If you have a look in the pause menu, you should be able to see more of the castle. It does depend on where you are. Let's have a look at it again. So you can see the windows are just textures. I rebuilt the entire castle from my Odyssey Experience VR project. So we'll call this Odyssey Experience 64 because basically it's that same castle model and area structure. But I rebuilt it with much lower polygon count. So the entire total number of faces in my 3D application shows up as about 3,500. If we convert that to about triangles, we'll probably get about 7,000 polygons. The entirety of this level is 7,000 polygons. That includes the trees as well. So here we've got actual climbable 3D trees. How do we do that? It's a pretty simple one. The trees themselves are baked into the map itself. So we've got actual models as part of the level structure. They are non-collision, so you can just run right through them. And then I've put actual trees there with the texture replacer making them completely invisible. So there's actual in-game trees there that are climbable, and then there's 3D models on top of them to make them look good. And again, if we have a look behind here, I've added the maze area that I put in my VR project as well. I'm going to pop over here and have a look on top of the castle. You can see I've added the box in, a few of the normal elements in, and you can see the actual castle looks pretty nice from here. You can see the lighting does bounce around and everything, and that's the best bit about having baked lighting, is we can just sort of bake in the best lighting we can do. The textures are absolutely massive, so be prepared to have quite a load time on your texture replacer itself. I will release this as is right now, but I do want to make an upgrade to it, make it work properly with the original game. The water flow does actually work, so I don't know what I just said. The waterfall does actually work, so it's got actual flow and everything to it. It's a pretty simple texture replacement there. When we have a look on the inside here, you can see nice bounced around light. I've replaced the doors as well, pretty simple texture replacement there. But on the inside we have got a little bit of a addition there as well, so you can see how the light does glow in as well. If we look inside there, ooh, that's a terrible way to look inside, but from here and turn, and there we go. Yeah, so you can see I've done a nice texture on the inside based on the way that the Mario 64 DS version of the game does it. And of course I've changed the doors so that they simply come back out as soon as you go in. That's because this mod does break a bit of the main game, so it's not really usable yet. So all I'm doing is releasing it as is. So you've got just this area. Now I've added a P switch here. Well, it's an exclamation mark switch, but they are P switches that allow you to climb the castle. But I'm not going to show you my terrible skills at this game right now. So I've just added a nice cannon here to make it nice and easy. There it is. So we're going to have a look on top of the castle. Most of the collisions work perfectly across the entire model, but some of them do break a little bit. So this area here, nice and working. You can see I haven't swapped out Mario's LOD model. I wanted to swap out Mario's model himself for another light mapped model so that I can get him to look pretty good. But unfortunately, every time I do that, it completely destroys my ROM. So I've left it for now. I'll get onto that soon. But let's have a look at this window in front of the castle. So a beautiful new area here, and we have artwork that I've actually taken from the net. This is artwork by, as you can see, I've put credits on the window. Peach artwork by LIZZY DAWSON. So she's actually someone I'd asked to use that artwork in the Odyssey Experience VR project, so it will be in there. She agreed to let me use it in there. I do apologize if you didn't really want it used here. This is not the same project, of course. And you can see, because I can bake the lighting in, I've actually got a nice little area inside the Peach Castle window. I'll do some extras with this. Probably leads into the castle in some new models and stuff. But you can see I can bake in the lighting, so I've actually made the window itself translucent and it actually glows through. Then you've got lighting glowing through and you can see the colors of everything coming through there. And that's pretty much everything about this ROM hack and mod itself. Of course, the water as well, as I mentioned. Let's just try and get that done properly. A little slow swim there. There we go. And you can see under the water is actually a blue tint, and that's baked into the actual scene. Now, as soon as you actually load this up, it's not going to load the textures unless you've put them in there. They are massive. So there's actually 100 meg in the texture folder itself, about 100 meg, and then there's a few extra textures that I've built for the graphical interface and everything. You can see the pause menu looks a little bit nicer. The actual text and everything in front of you looks a little bit nicer as well. For God's sake, jump properly, Mario. Anyways, yeah, so the ROM itself I've extended to 64 meg just to make sure that I had enough space. It wasn't necessary for it to be that big, but I did make it that big anyway. You can climb around all across the entire hill here, and you can climb up there up to the waterfall area, because I'll be adding more to this area in a later update. This is the version right now as is. I'll show you the game without the texture replacer, of course, because the texture replacer is doing all the high res work, and this is the actual game without the texture replacer. I am getting a little bit of texture enhancement on there, but this is basically it. And you can see with the trees, you can see the 2D trees sticking out at the top there of the 3D models, and that's basically how I did it. We just made the trees invisible and placed them correctly as is. But you can see the castle does look pretty good with N64 quality textures. These are 32 by 32, whereas mine load up, they are most of the castle textures are 4096 by 4096, and some of them are 2048 by 2048, so pretty massive. A few of them are 1024 squared as well, but yeah, they're pretty massive textures, and you're gonna need a bit of texture memory for that as well. Your graphics card's gonna need about 200 meg worth of texture memory remaining to add these extra textures on top. I could always scale them down and give you some scaled down versions. It'll still look pretty good, just not as high res obviously. But that's this entire project anyway. I'll be updating this and actually extending it so that we've got every bit from the original game, including all the grates and warps and everything, the cannon down here, everything from the original game, because what I'd love to do is actually do a remake of Mario 64 within Mario 64. And you can see it's actually possible. So obviously we wouldn't have to make a fan game out of it. you just simply mod Mario 64. Have a look in the description of this video to grab the download. It'll probably be uploaded to my itch.io page, because that's a nice place. It makes it really easy for me to upload things, and the site does allow for mods as well, so it'll be pretty much perfect there. And also have a look on the Discord as well if you want to chat with me or ask any questions, or you just want to discuss with any of the people that also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe as well if you want to. Thanks very much for watching this video. Goodbye.